Joining us on this broadcast now is Middle East analyst Meir Javedanfar, and he's live with us from Tel Aviv, and he's also the co-author of the book called Nuclear Sphinx of Tehran. So I'd like to welcome you to WION, Meir, and it's been the lowest turnout in any Iranian election since 1979. So what's the legitimacy of these elections, first of all, and hardliners are back in power? What does it mean for West Asia in particular?
Well, it goes to show that the election process in Iran has been delegitimized. And it's the hardliners who delegitimized it in Iran because they didn't let the previous parliament do its job. They bypassed the parliament. In Iran, you have a government and you have a regime. It's a dual system. And the regime allows candidates to run in elections, and the people elect the members of the government and elect the members of the parliament. But the problem is that the regime supervises everything that the government does. And in many cases, they subvert them, they undermine them. And in one of those places we saw it was the parliament. So people just came to the conclusion, what's the point of voting when we vote? We send people to the parliament and they can't do anything. They don't consult with them. They can't pass laws which we want. So this is I think one of the biggest reasons. The other reason is that because there were so many reformist and moderate candidates that were disqualified to run even before these elections, even before they had a chance of winning or losing. So I think when you put those in two, that's people just decided to stay away from the ballot boxes. It doesn't mean, right, the biggest threat to Iran's internal stability now is COVID-19 or the coronavirus. That's bigger than the consequence of those elections.
Certainly, coronavirus it not only poses a threat to Iran, which has emerged as a new hotbed for the COVID-19 outbreak, but coronavirus certainly poses a threat all over the world. But let's focus on the Iranian elections once more. Now, we are learning that in Tehran, the capital of Iran, 75% of the people chose not to vote. What does this reflect on the entire election process?
Usually, Mr. Mittal, in Tehran, people vote reformists. And there were very little reformist candidates who were allowed to run, and I think that was one of the reasons why the population of Tehran stayed away. I think another reason, which is delegitimizing the government and the regime in Iran, which again causes people to stay away from the election. From the election process is the mismanagement. Unfortunately, Tehran, it has one of the highest pollution rates of capital cities. It is very, very badly managed in that regard. There have been many, many instances where children don't go to school because of mismanagement and because the country is not being managed properly, and people hold the government and the regime responsible. And also, again, if I can come back to this COVID-19, the coronavirus, again, I think this will delegitimize current President Rouhani because he's under pressure right now by the regime, again, the government being undermined by the more powerful regime. Regarding this issue, the regime doesn't want the full knowledge of this virus. And also the regime doesn't want to impose a quarantine on the city of Qom, which is the epicenter of this disease in Iran. Just think about it, Mr. Mittal. Every day there are tens of thousands of people and cars going in and out of Qom to all over Iran. If you're sitting in Iran and you see the people you elected are not even stopping this, are not even putting a quarantine, then you say, why vote?
That's true. But tell us something about how the U.S. strike that killed Qasem Soleimani, the military general, and U.S. sanctions pulling out of the nuclear deal, what impact did that have on Iranian elections? Did they empower the hardliners ahead of the elections?
Mr. Mittal, in theory, they should have brought the people of Iran around the flag. They should have united the people of Iran with the rulers of Iran, because Trump walked out of the Iranian nuclear deal with no legitimacy, with no reason. Iran was not breaking the deal. It's America who broke the deal. But I'll go back to my original point. Because the issue of mismanagement by Iran's political leaders and regime leaders is a far bigger issue and is far more immediate to the people of Iran, that kind of stopped them from rallying around the flag. As much as if the government and the regime managed the country better, I think there would have been a more rally around the flag, and there would have been more people, even some may even support the conservatives. But they didn't. People see airplane, Ukrainian airline, it was shot down. They didn't even tell. For 3 days, they didn't let the people of Iran know. There's a serious environmental problem in Iran. I teach Iranian politics, and I was born there. So when people look at people have lived with Trump with 4 years, but they've been living with the political system for more than 40 years. So in a way, people hold Iran's rulers far more responsible than Trump. And of course, the conservatives see this. They see if they run for elections against reformists and moderates who want better relations with America, they would lose. So the conservatives just cut them out even before the elections. Right. So now they say they are controlling the political system of Iran, but they don't have much legitimacy.
Mr. Meir Javedanfar, who's an expert in Middle East affairs, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us on WION and sharing us your views on the recently concluded Iran elections. Meanwhile.